Oh, hi everyone. So this is kind of a start off. This is kind of the first time I've done a video like this. I'm just kind of go over this, kind of go over a stock I kind of have strong opinions about, and just kind of want to do sort of like analysis, but more like a rant about their inept management and leadership. But mind you, this is the first time I've done this. Normally I do other videos that do like flight sim and so forth. So this is not like my type of content. But I felt like I had some strong views about talking about this. And then, but a couple things kind of before I go right into it, the reason I'm interested is one, I do some stock investing on the side, but it's mostly just, buy and hold, just kind of, have a little, investment on the side. And what's fascinating, especially the last 5, 10 years, I've been really starting to follow more of the markets. There's a lot of variations why, you see stuff go up and down and so forth. But one thing that's become more evident, in my opinion, is very inept leadership and lack of creativity has really started hurting certain companies. Um, and by hurt, it may not be like horrible, like they're not going down like 30% or anything like that, but completely flat and so forth. And then finally, the last disclaimer: I am not a licensed analyst. I'm not a financial advisor. In fact, I'm not even advising to buy this thing. In fact, more like I'm going to talk about stay away from it. But fact of the matter is, what I'm giving is just my opinions, my viewpoints, what I look at, and so forth, and how I think. So just that's all that is. I'm not here to tell you to buy or even sell. It's just more my opinion on this stock and so forth. So granted, because there's a bunch of legal stuff if you're giving out stock advice, but that's more of your like license. So for me, it's just more about this is my opinion, uploading a video, and it's really half it's gonna be ranting about the company to be honest. But the big stock here is McDonald's, and you're probably like wondering why McDonald's. Well, I think the main reason is year to date. As I record this in late March of 24, it's up, it's down, it's not matching the markets. Like we're gonna go year to date here. This is where market. This is the S&P 500. This is the benchmark you want to use. It's down, 5%, while the market's up 10%. Even 1 year, which is a little better for McDonald's, up 4%. But then, like, there you go, the market's been up 31%. Obviously, this gets even more complicated because obviously you have this fluctuation. Maybe like 6 months, you're getting the idea. Only 3 years, if you go that far out, that's a lot better. But you're adding a lot of this volatility in the last, I would say, from late 21 through mid 23 between the broad economics of inflation, interest rates, and so forth. So there's a lot of factors there. But fact of the matter is, in the last year and a, yeah, I say year for sure, has just been extremely disappointing. And part of me is like, and also real quick, this is Yum Brands. This is like Taco Bell, Pizza Hut, KFC. Um, Similar. Even you had Wendy's, like Wendy's is honestly doing even much worse. But the main reason I want to focus on McDonald's, a couple of main reasons. One, it's on the Dow 30, so it's considered one of the largest 30 companies, or 30 largest slash important 30 companies to be on the Dow Jones Industrial Average. And these are variations here, just consumers, staples, which you can probably throw Johnson Johnson, discretionary, banking, industrial, like Caterpillar, Boeing. So Disney, entertainment, media, shopping, just a broad range of companies. But and McDonald's is considered one of them. Fact is the size, one of the largest in the world, but also it's a good prism into the consumer itself. What's the consumer doing in regards to discretionary spending, in terms of eating out and so forth. It's not a staple, even though food is a staple. It doesn't include restaurants and stuff, because really that's more like groceries. So I think like Kroger or something would be more of a staple stock, or companies like, oh, well, it gets complicated. You can say maybe like PepsiCo and so forth. I mean, not the soda itself, but they make stuff like let's say Tyson Foods, like chicken and so forth. People are gonna that's probably like a staple item. Anyway, that's a different thing. But fact is, it's a good look into the summer. So the fact it's down. It's down year to date. It's very flat year over year. And why is that? Well, and this is where we're going to get into my spiel, my strong opinions. But I think one is in a pricing. The pricing has gotten ridiculous in terms of what it is. Because mind you, when you think of McDonald's, you think of processed food. And it is. Like, now, I want to be fair. I worked in the late 2000s in high school, mid-late 2000s, 2007, how you want to throw that, wherever you want to classify that year. And things have changed a bit in terms of how they prepare and stuff. But I can tell you, like, the patties were frozen then. They're likely frozen now. The the chicken's like, it's a fried breaded patty that they don't bread it on site. It comes frozen like that, like a you can buy in the grocery store and they deep fry it and throw in the tray. Same with the nuggets is processed. The fries are frozen. Like it's not fresh fast food. It's not like Chipotle. Chipotle's done really well, and there's probably multiple reasons for that. But my fact is, I'm trying to point out, or like a Shake Shack. It's not like raw meat they form to cook to order. It's just basically sits in the tray. So it's very, I don't know, budget's right, but it's basically processed very. You know what? I will use this word. Let's say like an industrialization. It's a line. Same type of food wherever you go. There's not going to be much variations and so forth. It's very straightforward. But with that, there's a perception of what you think it should cost, and rightfully so. It's cheaperly. It's made more cheaply. It's not as fresh, so you expect the prices to reflect that. Now, in comparison, let's say Five Guys, sure, notably cheap because Five Guys is crazy expensive what it is, or even Shake Shack. But that said, they have been really raising their prices notably, more so than you probably what makes sense. And I'll show you a couple of reasons for that. Now, one, there's a lot of factors behind pricing. It comes down to the franchise models, where they are, property taxes. Obviously, like the McDonald's, like in a toll, like one of those toll rest stops. Like rest stops in the middle of a tollway. They got like food. They're extremely expensive for a lot of reasons for that space alone. But broadly speaking, I want to look at this in a very broad and just thinking about this. So obviously, wages have gone up and so forth. But you think about it, like the amount of staff at McDonald's varies a bit. And it's like it feels like it's less nowadays than it used to be. Like when I worked there were no kiosks. You had to go up to the counter. Now it's like there's 1, 2 counter stations. They're rarely manned all the time. Like they're usually manned by someone doing another job, and they have to go there. And then you got the app as well. So then you have the kiosk. You don't need as many people to man the front anymore. And obviously, being the McDonald's, their menu's gotten smaller, more limited. So even the process of making the food has been simplified and likely lowered as well. So that's probably, wages gone up, so there's that cost. But then let's think about like whole food sale prices. So this is like the beef chart in the last 5 years. So it's up from like, the lows of 2019. But if you think about it, here it is, 1592, 1650. So, percentage wise is up. But it's way off the highs in early 22. So it's actually been going down, down and up, then a little more flat. And who knows, it may go back up. These are commodity stuff. You see the commodity stuff. Now, granted, this is all day to day, so just you have soybeans as well, which no idea how that's doing. That's down as well in a year. 5 years is down. A couple. And again, this is a couple examples. And beef is just one element, but that's the thing. Another one is sugar. This is sugar, and that is up over 5 years. So that'd be fair, but even that's down from its highs last fall. And it seemed like, and granted, some of the stuff's gone up, like cocoa and stuff, just like skyrocket, which we'll see if that's maintained, or orange juice, which collapsed, eggs as well. But the pricing, like when I was looking at my McDonald's, it's like $8.89 for a Big Mac meal, $9 for a quarter pounder. And, the bulk of those costs is really into the beef. To them, that's what it is. It's usually the protein that costs the most. And when they talk about these numbers, it's not the potato and the fries, the breads, wheat and stuff has been pretty. Well, actually, I doubt they use much wheat. It's probably flour, and even that, like, okay, that's, of course, they had a spike in 22, which makes you wonder how legit that was. Oh, actually, no. This spike was due to the beginning of the Ukraine war, and things stabilized and gone back down to even like COVID levels. When the economy was asleep, everything was asleep, quote unquote. So the cost of that gets debatable, in my opinion. Again, my opinion. There's a lot of factors into that, but so the cost of that has probably stabilized. Is it up probably from 2019? Sure. Everything goes up over time, though. Stuff in 2019 costs more to make than probably did in 2012. But you see these price increases, though, have outpaced inflation. Like a good example, this is the Consumer Price Index summary. And we're just going to look at the top one here. All items, food at home, food away from home. Unadjusted 12 months in. 4.5 to 1. Now why is that? It's like it almost makes it sound like it's a little ridiculous. And to put in more perspective, some micro examples of the pricing, like I mentioned, let's say you get a biscuit sandwich. The bacon, egg, and cheese business is like $4. Just look at the sandwich. If you want to substitute, for me, I prefer the round egg. The round egg's the yellow real egg. The folded egg is the yellow fake egg they use now. They charge $2 to replace that egg. $2. I bought a dozen eggs literally just a couple days ago at $2.50. And that average price I say is around $2.50 to $3.50. It really depends. There's a lot of factors where you are, but these are large eggs. Just basic, dozen eggs. They want to charge me almost as much a dozen eggs for one. And they use a smaller egg. They don't use a large egg. They use like a medium-sized egg when I worked there, and it's probably the same today. So they're using a smaller egg that's technically cheaper by default to probably get. And granted, they're big companies, so they probably also can negotiate lower than the average consumer. And yet they want to charge me probably the same, 1/8 the same amount of price as a dozen eggs. I mean, that's just ridiculous. If you want to do an upcharge, I can understand maybe, I would say 25 to 50 cents, sure. But $2, you want to charge, put it in better perspective. You're charging me half of the sandwich already with the sandwich cost for one egg. Sandwich $4, you charge me $2. I mean, have you lost, for lack of better, you lost your mind. You've lost the plot. You've gone bourgeois. That's just ridiculous. Granted, I get some of the upcharges like extra cheese and stuff, but some of this stuff's gotten really stupid. There's always been like that with extra cheese and stuff. But it'd be like a real reasonable. It's like, oh, I want to splurge a little bit. When you're trying to charge like literally as much as a sandwich now, being a little facetious, but close to it, that makes no sense. That's just inept pricing. And I'm going this, I can go on and on about the data and other examples, but that's just a great example. And to put it in more perspective, there was an article from Business Insider, actually about a month and a half ago. I'll actually go in the exacts here, But yeah, said customer more aware of its price increases, no kidding. Low income rates more orders and eating out less often. Ooh, who would have thought? Dining with fast food is no longer cheap. They're absolutely right. Actually, you know what? I'll go. This is not going to tie to. Also, this is partly with pricing, but now with I call inept management, out of touch, really saying stuff that is just getting really stupid. So more. All right. So price. Okay. Yeah. I apologize. I actually had it originally, and I now lost my train. Not my train of thought. Okay. We certainly know consumers are more wary of pricing. Wary of pricing. Really? Check out the big brains on Brad here from the CEO. So, diners. Oh, yeah. See? Social. Yeah. See, look at that. Put me up 10% in the U.S. in 23. May I ask you why? Back to this, Again, there's a lot of more than these. The few things I'm looking at here, but this is my point: is to show you. Well, this is wheat. Back to these, soybeans, no beef. Down as well. So, the wholesale prices of key ingredients they would use, especially when I think of sugar and beef. A big chunk of the menu. And I know chicken hasn't. It's probably gone up a bit, but it hasn't skyrocketed. Does not justify a 10% increase. Even with the wages, I don't think justifies that as much. Because, McDonald's and these companies, they get around some of this stuff. They're like, they'll hire on more part-time so they don't have to give out benefits and stuff. Because I think, there's obviously a difference between like a full-time worker and a part-time worker in regards to getting benefits nowadays. Yeah, and so we should expect less price hikes. The problem is you've outpriced the actual inflation rate for a while. Even last year when inflation started going down. And granted, when I say going down, I mean like year over year, month over month. You're still way outpacing that. That's the problem. And you show nothing to justify it. That's where it gets kind of stupid. And then this one. Yeah, so. Because, and like this, from it, we saw, because eating at home is more affordable. Like, first of all, it's always been more affordable. So let's just back off that for a second. Of course, you're going to, that's just obvious. It's been more affordable for a long time. The problem is the reason people went after McDonald's for convenience and a cheap meal to eat out. Like, that's the main reason. Like, if you always want to do affordability, it was never going to be more affordable than eating at home. It's just more like I don't have to go. I can at least go out and get a quick meal and not, spend what I feel like is a bad deal in the process. Especially for what it is. Backtracking processed food. So this is just again a stupid point because this is like been a given forever. It's more about for a failure to understand why people went out. Um, you know, Again, he says they tried to lowest price items. Duh. Don't need any critical thinking for that, but apparently it is for the CEO. More okay. Here you go. The price point probably be more important than that to consumer to get them into the restaurants. Yes. Why? Again, you're McDonald's. You're not Chipotle, which you can go off in your fake, organic Tex-Mex nonsense. You're not like a good chain like where I live in the Chicago region. This is also why I'm going after McDonald's because they're headquartered here. Like Portillo's, it's a big chain up here. It's fast food, but at least like the bread tastes good. Like they at least have there's some quality standards. With McDonald's, it's super. It's just fast food. It's processed, quick, get in and out. I just don't want to spend a lot of money, but something that doesn't taste awful and I can eat it. And things like this, oh, we look at the $1, $2, $3. It's like, well, that menu sucks now. And at the same time, it's like, you know, you've had that forever. Now it's like, oh, let's concentrate on that again. It's like, then what have you been doing? so this is where the pricing and just the really out of touch CEO. I'm just like, yeah, the low customer. No, even with the middle and high income, which says it's fine, which it probably kind of is, because there will be people that will pay the luxury of the time of getting food and overcook it and so forth. But even that's got to take in a hit. It's just so. And again, this is just the U.S. market. I know globally, this McDonald's there's a lot of complications with that. You know, but it's like, one last thing before I go on to the next big issue is this one. Now, this is a Darden story, but McDonald's mentioned it. He goes, Starbucks taking the stairs that consumers prefer before meals at home. Which we just talked about. Now I think this is what Darden, so I can't go in this, but they're seeing like visit shares are dropping and so forth, which I think is also McDonald's as mentioned as well. Again, you're outpricing people. You say 10% increases, where again, if I look at these CPI data from the Department of Labor Statistics, it doesn't make any sense. This is the unadjusted 12 months. So even that, if you add that all in, 4.5%, you're outpacing that by another 5%, roughly. Again, if I'm reading this right, I could be misreading this, which is why it's an opinion piece here. Again, compared to at home and so forth. And then, granted, we can go in the weeds all day about that and so forth, but I'm just going to focus on McDonald's. So that's the other issue. That's probably the biggest. This really end up pricing out of touch CEO, completely like saying the most. It's like he's having a revelation, like, wow, the prices have really turned off customers. I'm like, wow. Did you like discover social media like a week ago or what? It's like, duh. So it's like, and then the other one, and this is my big personal beef. I play on words there. The complete lack of creativity in the U.S. menus. I like this is the burger. Like think about it. They really have. They don't have wraps anymore. Like here we go. They used to have snack wraps that were great. I actually didn't realize it until I think about it. They took out the bakery. Those are gone. Some of these are like limited. Like this is like 2000. I can go on like treading on. Some of these are old, but like they don't even have salads. They brought that back briefly and took it away. And here's where I get frustrated with the menu here, thinking about it, because I worked at McDonald's in 2000s, in high school, senior year. The wraps were not that hard. They took a chicken piece, cut it in half, some lettuce, sauce, cheese, and you were done. Wrap it up, and it was like it didn't slow down the process. 'Cause that's been the big justification for a while, taking away items, speeding up the drive-through process. That was a big ordeal. The bakery items, they just sit in a case, pull them out, you're done. Now there's back end work, yes, but they aren't made to order. I'm thinking about like the wraps are made to order. They're not that hard. Same with chicken fingers. Just you put them in the tray when you're done. Like that's the point of McDonald's. That's why people think it should be cheaper. You're not cooking to order. You put them in the tray. The quarter pounders are not cooked to order. Again, that's one chain that's done well. So but the other way is like they've done nothing. It's just the menu is like flat. There's they all their creativity lately has been, which I go into mocking. The big one's probably the Grimace Shake. Okay, I guess dessert and maybe to an extent. Like they got a Shamrock McFlurry now. Like that's kind of neat. But it's like, but they've always had the Shamrock Shake. I just don't remember the overall Shamrock Flurry. But it's like, So that's it. It's like a sauce. They have a sauce now. With the whole chili sauces and doing this, and that's it. Like earlier, it's like the other one was like, oh, we're gonna put 2 patties on the Big Mac. Well, guess what? They've done that overseas for a long time. This is Japan made it. This was in 2017. It's been there for a long time. There's nothing creativity about that. Back to the chicken. Actually, no, sorry, that's the wrong one. That one I'm gonna go in a second. Just another quick example. This is the U.S. menu chicken. Very, very boring. Very flat. This is the Canadian one. This is just north. Just a few. Our northerly neighbors, and some of it's like they kind of really split out. Between all this. 3 versions of the spicy and add bacon. But it's like, but look at this. They got some different stuff. They got a honey one here. Hot honey. Then they got these wraps. Why can't we do that here? I mean, that's just ridiculous. And yeah, you can say like they kind of expand the menu by repackaging items like sweet chili grilled. We don't have grilled chicken here anymore. Why is that? They also have that's just gotten ridiculous. Like it's just the lack of creativity here. I don't know if that's permanent enough, but that's funny. Seeing the McRib there. There was that's it. Oh, bring back the McRib like the 80th time. And then even like bagels. They have bagels in Chicago. They don't do it over nationwide. Even that would not be hard. Like the bagels aren't bad, surprisingly. Like look at this. You see more creativity in the Canadian menu than you do in the U.S. menu. And obviously I'm looking at Japan, which is very different. But like they do limited items all the time. Like they have a feature stuff, so they bring out different stuff. When I was there, they had the samurai burger. It was really good. I liked it a lot. Now they're doing this teratama burger. Teratama sauce is basically on certain items. At least like try different stuff. Get creative. And McDonald's in the U.S. is morally bankrupt or they're just bankrupt in creativity. Creativity bankrupt. Is that what they call it? Like here's a good example of what they've done in the last year. The Cardi B and Offset meal. Why? And then you look at it like they just repackaged what they already had into one meal. Again, why? There's a market research saying like, oh man, Cardi B and Offset, it just revitalized my faith in getting McDonald's food. No, none of that is. You go on all these social media posts, people say, where are the wraps? Why are the wraps are back? Why aren't there salads? The salads aren't hard. They basically make them, put them in the container, they put them in the fridge, and then pull it out when they need to add the chicken. The chicken was usually, quote, fresh, cut up and then thrown on there. It's not hard. And yet they do none of that. So the lack of creativity, which again the CEO doesn't even address because he's completely inept, in my view, just has no idea, completely out of touch. That would probably help bring back some customers as well. You don't need to get crazy. You don't need to bring back Mighty Wings or do fried chicken like they do in the Philippines. Just some stuff, and yet it's the Cardi B meal. I'm really curious what the market research said about this. I see that adding nothing. Nobody cared. They did a K-pop group once. Nobody cared. They're doing little anime stuff on the menu now, which looks cool in the back, but it's like I'm not going there for that. If I want to go read an anime or read a manga, I should say manga, not anime. I apologize, manga. I'll go buy the manga. I'm there to get a reasonable price meal, and I want some variety over just nothing. No, really nothing new has been done. You haven't brought back stuff that people want, like snack wraps. I mean, you have tortillas already. Now, granted, I think they're different sizes between the breakfast burritos, so I'll be a little fair. But it's like you've done absolutely nothing. Even like the old items, it would technically be nothing new, but they'd be nice to have. Like, when I just want like a quick meal on a weekend, like something between, late breakfast and dinner, a snack wrap was perfect, and I can't even do that. So it's like, so that's my the two big beasts, the in-app price, actually three. Technically, the second one ties into both. In-app pricing makes no sense, out of touch, no justification. They didn't even try to justify it anymore. They didn't like saying like, oh man, beef prices are skyrocketing. They can't even do that. Out of touch management, just completely like saying the complete obvious, or worry of pricing, like no kidding. People are thinking about it. Cheaper to eat at home. Been like that forever. And yet you're like a guy paid in the millions to say something that the average guy on the street could figure out. And then the lack of creative menu. You spent all this money getting Cardi B and Offset. I'd rather you spend money to add new, better items over repackaging the current menu or acting like you guys had a revelation doing 2 extra beef patties on a Big Mac and made a four, the ultra Big Mac, whatever they call it. Who cares? Just that's just complete nonsense. So, and that's why their stock, in my view, has just been completely worthless. It's good for a dividend. I take this back. If you just want to hold something for dividend, and when the markets go down, it'll probably be okay. It'd be like flat or down slightly to the offset of the market. But for a company that's quote, good dividend, doing well, and so forth, it's just completely flat. Down year to date when the market's up 10%. And yet the CEO and them act like they have no clue besides, well, people are aware of pricing. It's like, I don't know how out of touch and just completely inept. Like, sorry, you should honestly, if I was a board member, I would be firing him. I'd be saying, get creative. If I was a controlling board member, I would like try to convince everyone how there's no creativity, the pricing structure makes no sense. They've turned off way too many customers with some of this crap they're doing, and their only ideas are guys getting celebrity meal once in a while, or the grimace shake was probably the only thing that was actually kind of creative in the last like 5 years. That they'd honestly deserve because they brought back bagels, for example, and they're doing quite well here, but they won't bring it back nationwide. Just I don't understand why. The things they do make no sense. So that's my spiel. I know it's more of a rant, more about McDonald's as a whole, and it sounds kind of funny. Like, why pick on them? So I'm like I go there a lot. It's just more like I had the stock for a while, and I sold it for a slight gain, where the more the dividends that really kept it justified for a while. And this was more during the volatile region, so it was okay. But I just think about it, like for one of the global companies, truly like an Americana brand icon, look into the consumer, how the consumer thinks, and just seeing how completely inept and out of touch they become is really astonishing. But again, that's kind of what I like about the stock market. You see companies where people are just completely, honestly stupid, eventually get punished. Not always. There's some examples where you can flow upwards or, well, I should say flow upwards, but let's say Boeing in the example. See, finally, took a while. Years a little better. They did briefly, but at least like their ineptitude finally caught up with them. It shouldn't have been earlier, but this is why I like the markets. Eventually, bad management will get caught. And it's great because they usually say, you realize when you start critically thinking about it, they say the most inept, stupid things, or really they squirm when things don't go their way, and it's actually really enjoyable. But to me, that's where McDonald's is. Not a horrible stock, but a very disappointing stock, and honestly, just out of touch company that just has no ideas and so forth. So anyway, that's my little spiel. May do it again, who knows? But I hope you guys enjoy my rant. So have a good one, and don't buy McDonald's at this